Welcome, everybody. So, I'm Tiffany DeBoer. I'm the Public Information Officer for Calhoun County, and today I have with me
Miles Chamberlain. I'm currently the Planning Section Chief for the Unified Command and also handle our preparedness here for Calhoun County.
Okay. And can you give us a quick update on how the county is doing in relation to COVID-19?
So, our cases are actually trending fairly well in Calhoun County, especially compared to other places around the state and the country. So, total cases in Calhoun County were at 2,377. And in the last 14 days, we've only had 425 new reported cases. Unfortunately, we've had 30 total deaths. So it's through all of this, we've had 30 total deaths, and currently there's only 24 hospitalizations.
Okay, so it seems to be less than what it was maybe like a month ago, or how are the trends going?
So we are trending down. Around August 1st, we hit our peak. There was close to 60 people in the hospital, and at one time we had around 800 cases in a 14-day period. So we've significantly come down in cases since then.
Okay. And can we assume or kind of contribute that to the community being diligent and, wearing their mask, social distancing, and really doing their part?
Yes, and I think a lot of it can be contributed to everybody doing their part, the social distancing, wearing the mask, washing their hands, and just being aware of COVID is helped reduce the spread of it.
So are there any discussion on what the future looks like or what we can expect?
There has been. So the main national model that's used is the IHME. You may have heard of that. It's the main national model. And when you look at Alabama in there, it has us currently in this decline that we're in now for the next month or so. But then starting around November into December, we'll start seeing the increase in cases again. And that's a lot of that's contributed to a lot of the experts think that there's going to be a increase in spread during cold and flu season.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's a good sign to see that the community and what the community is doing is really, really helping out with reducing the community spread. So each September is recognized as National Preparedness Month in a way that it can help to promote family and community emergency preparedness. And, we're continuing to fight against COVID-19 as a nation right now, so there's no better time to get involved and to start preparing for the disasters that we may have now and for the rest of the year. And so the theme that for this September and for this month and National Preparedness Month is that disasters don't wait, and we see that with COVID-19. Disasters don't wait, so it's important to get prepared now and to have a plan now. And so can you kind of talk to us a little bit about what kind of natural hazards that we face here in Calhoun County?
So since it's September, almost September, this is getting to be the peak hurricane season. As we saw last week with Hurricane Laura that came through, even though COVID's going on, it doesn't stop other disasters from happening. So I know that we don't live on the coast, so we don't see the massive storm surges and the high sustained winds. But some of the things we can see is the heavier rainfall can cause some flooding. We do see some high wind gusts, so that combined with the heavy rain and saturated soils can make trees fall over easier. Then also tornadoes. So we don't get the big tornadoes that we see like during the spring, but there can be tornadoes off of this. And I think this past weekend there was 3 tornadoes from Hurricane Laura in Alabama.
Right. And so so that kind of talking about tornadoes, so we can start to see some tornadoes here and now due to hurricanes coming through and passing through. Can you tell us a little bit more about that threat of tornadoes?
So when most people think about tornadoes, especially here in Alabama, you think about the springtime, March and April. But we actually have a secondary season in November and December. We also see a lot of tornadoes as well.
Right.
And the thing with tornadoes is, when you think about tornadoes, you think about the Midwest having the big major tornadoes. But since 1950, Mississippi and Alabama are actually ranked number 1 in EF4 and EF5 tornadoes.
Mm-hmm. And is there a certain I know that when we had talked previously, you had mentioned about something about nocturnal tornadoes. Can you tell us a little bit about
So
that?
the tornadoes, most deaths from tornadoes occur at night. And Alabama also ranks number one in nighttime tornadoes, and also, unfortunately, we rank number one in tornado-related fatalities as well.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's where this nice little alert system, this is a weather radio, can help wake you up at night. And so to help mitigate against some of those dangers and threats from the tornadoes. So are there any other hazards that we face here in Calhoun County?
So winter weather, we don't get the massive snows. Usually, we just get a little bit of inconvenience once every 2 or 3 years of some snow and ice that causes some travel issues. But every now and then, we'll get a bigger snow and ice storm. Recently, everybody remembers the Snowmageddon event in
Right.
2014 that caused all the traffic problems. And fortunately, in that event, we didn't have any power outages. But if you think about it, it doesn't take much to knock out power in a snow and ice event like that. So if we would have had power outages, that could have caused some serious issues in Calhoun County when you think about people who home health or on oxygen at home, and you have nursing homes and dialysis patients. So if you think about these other things with power outages during a snow and ice storm combined with um, the travel issues, it could cause some serious problems. And one other thing to think about on winter storms is a tornado impacts a relatively small area, where a snowstorm impacts the whole county and usually the county surrounding you. So getting help from other places is really hard to do because of
Right.
travel issues, and they're facing their own
Problems.
emergencies as well.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So, so we can't prevent these things from happening. So, how can we prepare ourselves for when these things do actually happen?
Right. So there's three things we like to say. Number one is be informed. Know what hazards can impact you and how to receive emergency information alerts and notifications about them.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is have a plan. So when that emergency warning happens, when the tornado warning happens, do you and your family know what to do during that time? And third is build a kit. Your family needs to have enough supplies to last your family's needs for 3 days or 72 hours.
Okay. And so what exactly goes into a preparedness kit, or should you have multiple kits? Depending on the hazard or where you are. Can you talk
So
about that?
to start off with on what goes in a kit. So the simple things: water, food, non-perishable food, canned food, granola bars,
Mm-hmm.
peanuts, things like that go really well in a kit. But also really looking at what are your family's needs. Are there any prescription medications that you may need? I know it's hard to get a big supply of that, but if you see the weather's going to be bad coming up soon, get with your pharmacy and see if they can give you another prescription to last you through that time. Some other things to think about: first aid kit,
Mm-hmm.
weather radio, flashlight, batteries. Just really sit down and think about what will you need when the power. Just think about what you need when the power goes out, not during a storm, and some of the items you need.
Right. And so are there multiple kits that you should have?
So also when you're putting your kit together, think about where the places you don't know when an emergency is going to happen. It can happen any time of the day or not. So think about the places that you frequent, your house, your vehicle, and for me at least anyways, I feel like I'm at work more than I'm at home. So having a kit in those three locations, have one at home for you and your family, have one in your vehicle in case you become stranded just from a normal breakdown or if you in an ice storm. And also if you're at work and something happens when you're at work, you have some supplies to last you.
Well, I know. I can't wait to show this. So this, after what you had mentioned as Snowmageddon, I was my mom was stranded at work, and then I was almost stranded at school. And so after the fact, we should have had it before, but after, when something actually happens, then we think a little bit more like, oh, we should have, done this. So that's why it's important, I guess, to do it now. But so this kit my mom put together to keep in my car. It's very small and portable. It's got all kinds of things. If we were to have another Snowmageddon, some matches, first aid, hot hands, all kinds of things. So it's been very helpful um, since that happened to be prepared.
Right, and it's important to keep it simple and not to overcomplicate it. A little bag
Right.
like that's perfect. You put what you need in there, put it in your car and know where it's at when you do need it.
Right, exactly. So, how does the current COVID-19 pandemic kind of affect how we prepare or how we respond to some of these hazards?
Right. So it does offer a lot of challenges. So when you think about severe weather and tornado season, I know back during April we had a significant weather event during this, and we tell everybody during non-COVID times, go to these community safe rooms during a tornado watch and tornado warning. So we still encourage everybody to go there, but when you go, there's a little bit different plan and way to go about it. So we still encourage everybody to go to their safe place, a community safe room during a tornado watch. But instead of going immediately into the safe room, you can sit in your car, wait till the tornado warning where the storm gets close, and then move in so you limit your exposure with other people. Try to social distance as much as you can. I know that's going to be difficult in a situation like that. And then also, of course, to wear your mask. Hopefully everybody's wearing their mask in there to reduce the spread of everybody breathing in that and talking in that close space.
So I guess as emergency management and looking at the threats and the risk of them, we would say that the tornado is a more imminent threat than possibly the COVID in spread of it.
Correct. So at that time, the immediate threat to your life and safety is the tornado. So you would be safer and better off to go into the community safe room to protect yourself at that time from the actual threat that's there that you can see and is there from the tornado than going into the not going into the community safe room.
Right. Yeah. And then, so do you think that this pandemic has any? So if we have a winter storm coming, or there's a hurricane coming, or we're going to shut down for a couple of days, and everybody runs to the store.
Right.
So do you think that being in the middle of a pandemic could hinder even more, like getting supplies?
Right. So at the beginning of this pandemic, we saw a lot of, I would say, supply issues, or everybody going to the store buying up all the toilet paper and paper towels and food. It created some supply issues. It didn't mess up the supply chain, but it slowed it down because everybody's buying so much stuff at one time. So if you put that on top of a snow event, everybody goes and buys their milk and bread on top of any other supplies, you could see some slowdown and delays in there. There could be not as many supplies available. If a food manufacturing plant, for instance, let's say they have an outbreak within their facility of COVID, it could slow down whatever food item it is that they're providing. So it hasn't broken the supply chain, but it can cause some slowdowns and some hindrances with it.
Right. And so I guess it's good to start now, prepare now, instead of, buy batteries now, buy some canned food, instead of waiting till the day before. And then you can't find it anywhere.
Correct. And that can be expensive, waiting to the last minute to buy everything that you need. What we do recommend to people is when you go to the store, throw an extra case of water in there, or extra pack of granola bars, or things like that. Don't buy it all at one time. Just, build it a little bit here and there.
Right. No, that's a very good tip. So can you go a little bit more in depth on the ways that the community can or should receive emergency alerts?
So we recommend to everybody to have multiple different ways of receiving emergency alerts and notification, especially a way that'll wake you up at night. As we learned that Alabama's number one in nighttime tornadoes, we need to have that method to alert us that will wake us up if we are asleep. So to start off with, the outdoor warning sirens. Everybody's most familiar with the sirens that go off during a tornado warning. So we don't encourage that to be your primary method of warning you of a tornado. You're not going to be able to hear those real well in your house. What they work best for is if you're outside. So they're called outdoor warning sirens for that purpose, to be used outside. They work great at parks and ball fields, places you'll be at where you won't have your weather radio or you may not have your phone on you. They work great for warning and alerting people at outdoor venues.
Right. So if we should not rely on sirens, what are some other ways to meet those 3 different ways that we can get alerts?
So Calhoun County, at the beginning of this year, purchased a really robust and fancy alert system called Everbridge.
Okay.
And the good thing about Everbridge is it's completely personalizable if that's a word. You can personalize it to do anything you want it to do. So,
Right.
whatever alerts you want to receive, if you don't want to receive the fog warning and significant weather advisories and all those alerts, you can choose not to. If you just want to get the significant ones of tornado watches and tornado warnings, you can also personalize it to notify you through a phone call, through a text message, through email. It can do your home phone, your cell phone, or all of them. So it's really customizable to however you want to use it. There is a little bit of a lot of information that you put in at the beginning of it. You have to put your address and phone number, email, all that stuff that you want to get. Because the good thing about it is, if you put your address in, if you're in the tornado warning, you get the warning. If you're not in the tornado warning, you don't get the alert for it.
Okay.
So there's no false alarms with if you live in Oxford and there's a tornado warning in Piedmont, you're not going to get that alert.
Okay. And so for anybody who does want to sign up for this, it is called Everbridge, and it's on our website, calhounema.org. On the homepage, and there is Calhoun County Alerts button, and you can click it and get signed up for it. So are there any other ways that we can receive emergency alerts?
Another good method, as you mentioned earlier, is the weather radio. So it's another popular and well-known and very reliable system. Relatively inexpensive. It's $30, and you can get them at most any retail store. And most of them actually come pre-programmed, and they're really loud. If you ever heard one go off, they will wake you up if you're asleep. The only drawback I would say to them would be if you have a weather radio and you live in Oxford and there's that tornado warning in Piedmont, it's going to wake you up and let you know that there's a tornado in Piedmont or tornado warning in Calhoun County. It won't tell you exactly where it's at, which can be good. It can wake you up and get you weather aware and paying attention to what's going on. But it does notify countywide of any alert. There's another system that we've actually had it for a long time in Calhoun County. We still use it. It's called Nixle. It's a really simple text message system. You can text Calhoun EMA to phone number 888-777, and it'll sign you up for text alerts for Calhoun County. And similar to the weather radio, if there's a tornado warning or any type of warning anywhere in the county, it goes to everyone that's signed up for it. So it doesn't specify based off of your location.
Right. And then specific to COVID, you can also text Cal COVID to 888-777, and you can get just coronavirus specific updates, and usually those are sent out daily to update you when we're doing things like this on daily case numbers and press conferences and things of that such. Are there any other ways?
So the last thing is social media. So we wouldn't recommend that you get your alerts and warnings from social media, but it's a really good place to get your information beforehand. So if there's impending severe weather, I think actually this afternoon we have a marginal risk. We post all of those updates on our social media. So it's good to stay informed and be in the know of what's happening or possibly going to happen with severe weather.
Right. Okay. Well, so thank you today for talking to us about preparedness and how COVID can affect that. And I would like to say, if you do have a fun kit that you've made, take a picture of it and put it in our comments. We'd love to see that. And we encourage any of you that do not have a plan or a kit to go to our website, calhounema.org, and under the Resilience tab, we have multiple lists of things to put in your kits and tips on how to prepare for the different hazards that we face in Calhoun County. So again, as I said earlier, we're going into National Preparedness Month. And so the disasters don't wait, so make a plan today.